Hey everyone, it's Roxy Kyber and welcome to Swooning Over Stands. We all love a little Grunkle Stan and a little Grunkle Ford, right? I I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm stoked. Okay. Let's do this. Oh, okay. Good old road trips, full of promise and ripe with potential for adventure, soul searching, and incredibly scenery. Okay. Or at least that's what you thought before the novelty wore thin. As of now, your legs are cramping up, you've exhausted your travel playlist 2 times over, and your stomach is begging for something to eat. On top of all of that, you're pretty sure you're lost. Driving through Oregon paints a picture of trees, and more trees. Very accurate, especially on the endless winding roads that you're taking up north. All that breaks the pattern is a sign that zips past with the words that you were just able to make out: Gravity Falls. I would love to live there. That'd be fucking awesome. The road continues on, giant redwoods looming on both sides. You find yourself anticipating something because as you drive on, you can feel it. Something strange is bound to happen here. ... Something weird. And that's when it happens. Your car picks up speed. The change came out of nowhere and you quickly put your foot on the brakes, but horrifyingly, the car seems to be driving on its own willpower. Trying to stay calm despite the panic welling in your chest, you pull the emergency brake, only to find that the car resists and keeps moving forward like something is pulling it. The car begins to rattle, the wheels screech against the crunchy road, and you're screaming until... crash! Beautiful. It's the Mystery Shack. I love the painted background. This is so cute. There's smoke. Why is there smoke? You cough, fumble for the door, and manage to undo the lock just before the door is wrenched outward from your grasp. Something lands on your shoulder. A hand. A ghost? Are you alright? Oh, it's Ford. Hey, Ford. A man stands at your open car door. His hand on your shoulder leaves to tilt your head up, and he pulls a flashlight from his coat, shining it in your eyes. 2 blinks and he lets your chin go. His eyes dart over the rest of you, looking for injuries. Still stunned, all you do is watch. But he's so old. What's your name? Regular person. I love it. But I'm sorry. Good old Roxy. She. Those are my pronouns, thank you. Roxy, I'm Stanford Pines. Ford for sure. I would shake your hand, but you look shaken up enough as it is. I'm sorry, I don't want to touch your 6 fingers. You seem fine, as far as I can tell, but you shouldn't head back out there anytime soon. Where on earth were you driving in such a hurry? You open your mouth to explain when a voice calls from inside the house. Poindexter, this better not be one of your experiments again. I've had this place rebuilt too many times to... It's Grunkle Stan! Wearing his good old gold. The owner of the voice walks out of the house and stops slack-jawed at the sight of your car in the sight of, you're guessing, his house. Hi! You must have hit your head earlier because you could have swore you're seeing double. Sweet Moses, Ford, you've done it this time. What? This had nothing to do with me. I was testing my magnet gun and it was you! It must have pulled this victim of circumstance into the house. I suppose it's entirely my fault. I'm incredibly sorry. Cry. Nah, it's fine. You only made me crash into a house. It's fine. Unsure of why you're reassuring this mystery man who just wrecked your car, you give an awkward shrug. It's alright? No, I must have done something wrong. A wire mix-up perhaps, or the potentiometer. I can't read. I'm so sorry. They're talking about your other mistake, Sixer. Oh, right. Hey, look, it's fine, alright? Sure, there's a dent in the hood from the shack signage and a crack in the windshield that looks like an ominous triangle. Bill. But I'm sure she'll still run. You try to start up the car, it sputters, but ultimately nothing happens. You feel like crying. Oh. Oh. Well, let's call a tow truck for this unfortunate soul here and forget. You know, the normal Grunkle Stan would be telling you to fucking pay for it. Let's be real here. I'll take care of it. You're right. It is cheaper to tow it yourself. Sixer, get that magnet gun out again. No, Stanley, I'm going to fix this. What? Ha! You fixed this mess? I figured out a few alien vehicles in my time. Nah, you kidding me? It takes some sort of miracle worker to bring this baby back to life, and this miracle worker is on vacation. Stanley, a moment. I love this. Ford and Stanley turn away and you're left to your thoughts. Jesus Christ. Who could anticipate a car accident like this in the middle of a road trip? You can take care of the car, but how are you going to get home? They run buses out here, right? So you take a bus out of here and then... Oh. Ford clears his throat, shifting a little awkwardly in place. Seems like they finished their talk. So there are a few options. My brother Stanley here could drive you out to town to find a place to stay the night, or you could stay the night here. Ooh, this is getting good. We have some maps and information you can look at in the gift shop, and in the morning we can help you with your car. What do you say? Just as you're about to answer, another high-pitched voice comes from inside the house. Is it Mabel? Grunkle Stan, picture this. A whole week of, oh my gosh. It's Mabel! The girl that runs out of the house comes to a halt at the sight of your car. Oh, great. Grunkle Ford? Why is it that everyone automatically thinks I'm at fault? Well, this time it is my fault, but I've invited Roxy here to stay with us for the night if she'd like. I'm sure I can fix this. I just have to figure out how. Stanley sighs. This is pretty damn good artwork, I'm not gonna lie. I can take a look. Being on vacation's pretty boring, and the old Stanmobile hasn't needed a tune-up yet, so it wouldn't be too bad to work on something in the meantime. Thank you, Stanley. I'm sure I can put something together from the gadgets I have laying around if you need any specialized tools to help you with the job. And let me introduce myself. I'm Mabel. You can ask me anything. I pretty much know everything there is to know about this place. Mabel, you're so cute. Wait, hold on. I haven't even said anything yet. I appreciate your offer to let me stay and to repair your car. Thanks, Ford. Yeah, it'll be as good as new in my hands. I mean, look at my Stanmobile. She's been through the ringer and knows how many times she's still a beaut. Okay. He points out a red car parked a distance away. You can't really see how beautiful it is at this distance, but he sounds really confident. Well, this turn of events is... free repairs, free lodging. There's no better deal to be found, and if things don't work out, the town probably has some auto repair shop that you can head to instead. Well, I accept. Thanks for the help. And my apologies again. What an embarrassment. I must have made such an elementary mistake. Oh, you're so cute. As the Pines lead you inside the house, Mabel leaves her number and your phone for you to call whenever, and you find out that Ford's twin goes by Stan. This part's the house, but just outside the door, that door's the Mystery Shack. Hey, have you ever been to the Mystery Shack before? I wanted to, actually. I saw a bumper sticker while I was on the road and got curious. You're interrupted by a loud triumph. Ha! Those bumper stickers were a good investment. And Sixer says they're too plain and graphically simplistic and don't even have an address on them. Stanley, how is anyone supposed to find the place to attract customers? Sixer, did you hear that? I've actually seen a couple where I live, which is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Well, they are graphically simplistic. I don't know how she found the place, let alone thought what is the Mystery Shack was compelling. I kind of liked it. See, she kind of liked it. Hey, I like you, Roxy. How about I give you a tour sometime tomorrow? Regular price. Oh, you are such a gentleman, Stan. Tomorrow? Then I'll have to squeeze all my get-to-know-you questions in today. Roxy, tell me, capybara, yes or no? At that moment, a boy passes in the hallway at the front door and Ford calls out to him. Dipper, my boy, I'm surprised I didn't see you run out to the scene of the crime. Crime? That's not his hat. Crime? What crime? I have an alibi. Oh, you have someone with you. Oh, there's a tree. I just noticed that. Yeah. Did you guys see that car in the side of the shack, though? For a second, I thought the Manitars were back with the grudge. Yes, about that. Dipper, meet Roxy. I've, stranded her car here by accident. Sure. She's staying here for the time being. Sorry, stranded her car here? You crashed it? Yeah, the S in shack fell on it and everything, and the windows are cracked. One window, the windshield, to be fair. Oh, I just noticed. Oh, Mabel's shooting star, Ford's 6 fingers, Dipper's tree, okay. And Roxy was lucky to make it out alive. She's fine, no injuries. Thankfully, the magnet gun's rather safe despite never having been tested in a formal setting. Yeesh, did you not, like, take safety precautions or anything? Actually, the irony of the situation is that I was trying to install a safety precaution. Hey, if you two are gonna do your nerd talk, I'm gonna get Roxy set up. Mabel, sweetie, why don't you show Roxy around? He called her sweetie? Let her stay in the storage room. That's still empty, right? I'll make it empty. Oh, Mabel, you are so sweet. You treat me so fine. The rest of the day consists of Mabel showing you the storage room you'll be staying in, then the kitchen, then the living room, and the hallway, and the bathroom, and pretty much a comprehensive tour of the mundanities of a regular house. Eventually, you find out that the family is even more extended than you knew. The decorative doilies make a lot more sense knowing a grandmother normally lives here, and her grandson Zeus. Or was it Zeus? Whatever the name, you look forward to meeting him when he comes for work in the morning. I love Zeus! When you go up to the attic, Mabel opens the door to reveal Dipper, nose stuck in his book, but you catch him occasionally glancing up at you as he pretends to read. The next member of the family snorts up at you from Mabel's bed, a rotund pink pig who Mabel declares as her best friend and partner in crime, Waddles. The two are a perfect match, right down to the chubby cheeks and boopable noses. I totally agree. And in the evening, though, you'd still been in disbelief over the state of your car. The family dinner and after dinner TV marathon you've been invited to made it seem like a normal guest stay rather than a forced circumstance. This is great. Returning to the storage room Mabel had shown you earlier, you find an air mattress waiting for you and more pillows and sheets than a summer night warrants. I see that. I see you, Bill. You wake to the weak glare of sunlight streaming through the small, high window in the wall. You can't remember your room having this kind of feature, or any hotel or motel room for that matter, and then yesterday comes crashing back to you. Cursed artifacts? Wait. You glance at the time to see that you've slept into the afternoon. Experiencing the accident yesterday must have left you tired out. When can I pick who I'm gonna date? I already know who, but, you know. Despite having been assured yesterday evening that you were free to anything in the fridge, you still feel like you're imposing on the Pines family and try to prepare it as polite a guest breakfast as you can. You wash your dishes in the sink before you leave, and just as you're about to exit the kitchen, you bump into Ford. Oh, hello. Excuse, yes, from yesterday, of course. For a good solid moment, Ford regards you in awkward silence. Alright? Ford clears his throat. I believe Stanley is taking a look at your car outside if you want to be there for it. You give a nod and make to leave for real this time when Ford speaks up again. And Roxy, I'm sorry again for the accident. If I'd have been smarter about, well, let's just say it's entirely my fault, and you shouldn't worry about this at all. When it comes down to it, Stanley does have a knack for cars. I predict you'll be back on the road in a matter of weeks. You can't keep the dismay off your face and can't really bring yourself to try to either. What am I gonna do with weeks? Ford, who'd gone kind of uncomfortable and closed off when your face fell, recovers at the prospect of a question he could answer. Well, there's the town tour, of course, and the mystery shack. But if you ask me, all that pales in comparison to... Hold on, do you hear that? No? Ford turns to the kitchen doorway to investigate. The sound comes again, and this time you hear it well. The squeal of a pig, followed by a pair of quick footsteps running down the stairs. Waddles tumbles past the kitchen doorway, and Mabel comes into view soon after, a few sheets of paper clutched in hand. Ford steps quickly out of the kitchen, and you follow to the doorway, getting there just in time to see the apparent tug of war between Mabel and her pig over a saliva-covered sheet of paper. The paper rips and after nearly toppling backward from her efforts, Mabel recovers, snatching the scrap of ripped paper from Waddle's jaw and lifting both pieces up victoriously. Ha ha! Mabel wins again. Now I just gotta find Grunkle Ford! Ford, who'd run forward and held a hand out to steady this energetic child when she'd been in danger of toppling over, now finds a number of crumpled sheets of paper shoved into his hands. Mabel tugs urgently at his coat. Grunkle Ford, you have got to help me! Ford kneels down to face Mabel with a serious, though concerned look. Slow down, Mabel. What's the matter? Dipper found a stack of pages from your old journals, and I walked in, and Waddles ran up and started eating one, and he must have been chewing on it to warn me, Grunkle Ford, because look! Mabel takes the ripped halves of paper back from Ford's hand and joins them together, holding it up for Ford to see. I see, and you took it as a warning? Yes, it says here that it eats small dogs, and Waddles is a small pig, but he sort of looks like a dog from far away, and Waddles must have feared for his life. Waddles seems to second this notion with a snort, or not, as it seems the pig is lounging adorably a short distance away in the hallway, because he's so freaking cute. You can't imagine what this dangerous predator could be. Some kind of wolf? Something bigger? You're suddenly not so keen on staying anymore. Remember the pterodactyl I told you about? Waddles was so scared at that time, I can't let him leave my side. Pterodactyl? You suppose pigs are allowed in museums around here? How about I finish that repellent I never got around to completing? That'll keep Waddles safe from harm. Mabel flops down on the floor in relief. Grunkle Ford, you are an actual lifesaver. Waddles, you have nothing to fear. Ford chuckles, lifting himself out of the kneel and standing back up. It's so detailed. I can, picture all of this. Alright, I'll go get my recipe. Ford turns to leave, and you suddenly remember that with nothing better to do for the weeks you're going to be here, it wouldn't hurt to get to know Ford. He seems to know that oh my god, I cannot read today. He seems to know what there is to do around town anyway, and you'll need that to not die of boredom in the first week. Or more pressingly, you could go check on your car and see what Stan's made of it so far. You're not exactly eager to face seeing your car in the side of the house again, though. I'm gonna get to know Ford. He was my favorite. I was like, yeah, Grunkle Stan, why? And then Ford came, and I was like, oh yeah, old man, but still, oh yeah. Ford, wait, need a hand with that recipe? I can handle it myself. Well, fuck you too! Whatever. Are you sure you couldn't use a hand? Ford looks away, then you follow his averted line of sight to Mabel, who's just mouthed something that you couldn't catch. When she catches you looking her way, Mabel gives you a 100-watt smile, the picture of innocence. Ford rubs the back of his neck. Yes, I suppose I can accept some help. With that, assured that Ford is on the task, you spot Mabel rolling away with Waddles into the living room. Before we get started, I suppose I should give you an introduction. Roxy, tell me, do you believe in the supernatural? Yes. Well, you're about to come face to face with the unexplainable yourself. Fuck yeah. You see, Gravity Falls isn't some quiet, unassuming backwater town. Much more lurks below its surface. I've seen the show. I know this. Ford pockets the crumpled journal papers and gestures for you to join him as he walks. You do, and follow him through the living room and to the gift shop. For example, you must have heard Mabel mention a pterodactyl. Most would say none exists in the living world today, but I say, not if you know where to look. Ford reaches under the cashier counter and retrieves a packet of vintage-looking gum, inspecting it for a moment before slipping it in his pocket. He looks around in thought. Hold on to my explanation for the moment. I need to retrieve some more supplies. Ford ushers you out the gift shop entrance so that you find yourself on the outside of the shack and then shuts the door behind you. Okay. Peace. Turn and try to peer. Hell yeah. The glass is dirty enough that the sunlight hitting it obscures your vision of the room within. You catch a gray and tan blurry figure that must be Ford at the far wall. You lean in too close and have to step back before you leave a conspicuous handprint on the window pane. When you look back in, Ford is gone. You turn back around. You're just going to stand out here until Ford returns. Secrets. I mean, we all know what it was. It was the vending machine. Not too long later, the door opens behind you and Ford joins you outside, looking no different than before. He must have stored whatever supplies he went to retrieve in his coat, but the trench coat falls too naturally on his figure for him to be hiding much. Does it have to say that? He's an old man. Where were we? Ah, yes. Ford pulls a pen and pad of paper from his coat, walking as he writes. Just as you're about to head out, he stops and smacks his hand to his face. Oh shoot, 1 second. Ford hurries back to the house, realizing that he forgot one important component to this adventure, a butterfly net. Before you get a chance to ask, he strides out ahead of you, obviously in no mind to tell you what it's for quite yet. When are we gonna get to the dating? Like, when are we gonna start the swooning? Like, I'm ready to swoon over Ford. The pair of you walk past the shack and down a well-worn path into the trees surrounding the house, sunlight peeking between the pines. He double-checks whatever he scribbled onto the paper and tucks it back into one of his coat's seemingly infinite pockets. He stops and turns to face you with a definitive nod. My recipe for repellent called for a sprig of lavender, 2 thin slices of ginseng, a drop of bat blood, a chunk of amber, and 3.5 milliliters of ink. What? He pauses, staring down at the path in thought. Obviously, I already have all those components on hand, all except for the one last ingredient, a single moth's wing. From Mothman itself. Go figure. You can't help it. You gasp. Gasp in Spanish. Ford glances at you, and you think you see a hint of a smile before he turns back to the path and continues along when ruffling through his hair. Oh, God. You see, Mothman is the very creature on that page that Waddles seems to fear. Using a piece of itself should ward it away, or at least lead it to believe that Waddles isn't for eating. I would have already completed the repellent years ago if I had managed to collect that wing. So we're gonna see Mothman? I knew I made the right decision going with Ford. Was it too difficult? Oh, I just never got around to it. Besides, Mothman used to come bat at this lamp I had lit out in the backyard. It seemed like such an innocent hobby that I never had the heart to chase it off. Aww! But if this brings Mabel and her pig a peace of mind, then the time has come to finish this. Sunlight filters in through the trees, causing dappled shadows across Ford's coat as he leads in front of you. How manly. Break the silence? How much further are we walking? How do you know so much about this stuff? Wait for him to speak. That one. I study anomalies, anything unusual, strange, and just plain weird. I began my research in this town because it was, and remains, a hotbed of paranormal activity. I made this exact trip years ago, though at the time I had no idea where I was going. It was just dumb luck that I managed to tail Mothman back to its cave from my backyard. Navigating the forest by moonlight is poetic, but not advisable. Clearly. I made plenty of other discoveries as well, from fairies to gnomes to amalgams of creatures who were never meant to cross to... Oh, wait. Ford reaches into his pocket and pulls out the slightly crumpled pages Mabel had pushed into his hand earlier, smoothing them out and shuffling through them. Oh, geez. Okay. Take a look at these. They're more definitive proof than just my word. You accept the pages from him and find that they are scanned pages from some sort of journal, just as you heard Mabel say. Fluid cursive tells of Mothman, beard cubs, campfires, and more. Ford gestures to them and explains. I detailed my discoveries in a series of research journals, the remaining pages at least. I wonder where Stanley was keeping these. You drew these? Were any of these creatures ever dangerous? You must have gotten up to some pretty crazy stuff back then. Walk in silence. Yeah. Yes, of course. Who else? Could have been Dipper. They're so photorealistic. I love your line work. These ink washes look so masterfully executed. I've seen better. No, we are going to flirt with this old man. My work now is far better, but I appreciate the compliment. Come on, man. Despite his understated words, Ford looks surprisingly pleased. Aww. Oh, okay. Does it want me to ask all of them? That's one way to put it. Only took 6 years for me to get in over my head. He takes a silent moment to look away from your gaze, seemingly in bittersweet remembrance. Okay. So he wants me to say all of them. Oh, extremely. Some are worse. Dangerously annoying. Though Ford seems to find his own comment amusing, he doesn't fail to notice your unease. I do have weapons in case things escalate, so there's no need to worry. You're gonna protect me? Okay. You brought weapons? Not many. I have a stun gun, my fists. He does have 6 fingers on each hand. And my sharp wit. Perfect weapons. How manly. I feel safer already. You didn't bring your magnet gun? I thought it would be prudent to leave its magnetic fields alone for a while until I have the time to optimize it. True. You see, I was trying to widen the area of magnetic influence, but it's been a while since I last worked with the gun. I need to refamiliarize myself with its inner workings. My guess is I switched a wrong wire or two and instead narrowed the beam. I'd like to see how it works sometime. Really? You know, if you're interested in devices like that, my old research colleague, Fiddleford, would have more to show you. He's the engineering genius around here. Ask him about those. Holy shit! He shuffled through the pages, deciding which one to ask about. Let's just start at the top. It says here that Mothman turns into a bunch of moths, question mark? Yes, that's how we'll get the moth wing. Then why not use mothballs as repellent? Well, I've never tried. Well, maybe you should. Could the most conventional method be the unconventional one? Or would Mothman be able to overcome its mothly nature and persist? Okay, asking about the creatures. You mentioned gnomes. Other places have rats, mice, or insects as house pests. We have gnomes. Picture your typical garden gnome, but more disturbing. Yeah, they puke rainbows. And one tried to... Actually, they all tried to marry Mabel, but, you know. Will we catch sight of that pterodactyl? I doubt we'll spot it today, but perhaps we could go birdwatching later if you're interested. You know I am. Alright. So about this leprechaun. Ford groans. You wait for further answer, but that's it. Okay. Oh, leprechaun. What the fuck is that? There are floating eyeballs here? Sounds disconcerting, doesn't it? I once released them in my house by accident and found eyeballs in the most unsuspecting places for months. My guest chose not to comment on my choice of house decor. Gravity Falls is home to giant vampire bats. Giant fruit bats, actually. They were among the first to teach me not to judge a creature by its reputation. I only realized they were harmless once I'd been bitten by one. Oh no, that still sounds pretty bad. It actually healed quite fast. I attributed that to the health kick I was on soon after. You mentioned gremloblin, a rare specimen that I've since steered clear of when accompanied by others. Though if you want to see one in person, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt to walk into that situation again for the sake of education. Was that it? Yeah, that was it. Oh, crap. Okay, yeah. Walk in silence. Suddenly, Ford puts an arms out in caution, slowing his pace. You narrowly manage not to collide into him and take a quick glance around to see nothing. Look, there. You see what looks like a bundled up plaid shirt moving along the forest floor. Wait, is that a beaver's tail? It looks like a platypus. Ah, what are you doing all the way out here? Don't you mean a platypus? Wait. Oh, I meant what I said. It's a platypus. A platypus. God damn, that's confusing. Ford moves into a crouch but stays at a respectable distance, following the small creature. You watch him, and after a moment mimic his actions. Ford's giving the creature a bright smile, the first of its kind that you've seen since leaving Mabel at the shack. Aw, you're a cute one, aren't you? Yes, I know. In one of my favorite patterns, too. That's cute. Ford motions for you to move forward a little more to the distance he's maintaining. If I were to rate the oddities that live in this forest on a scale of least to most annoying, these little guys would get immunity. They have done nothing wrong, and I appreciate them for it. Aww. As the two of you watch in quiet appreciation, the platypus ambles into the underbrush and vanishes from view. What a cute little guy. Okay. Alright, I should probably stop here. I'm gonna save before I forget. Empty slot, yeah. Oh, no. And I think that's it for today. Obviously, there's gonna be another part because I am so invested in this game and I am so excited to see how it ends. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Mwah! Bye-bye!